thing you know about all companies
Yeah.
is we are all expendable in the end.
True.
Yeah, my situation's similar. I only do contract work. So once the contract's up, you gotta find a new job.
Yeah.
One more year. See what happens.
I'm so glad I found that music.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you take full credit for that. That is your thing, my friend.
I should really find out who actually made it so we could start crediting them.
Well, don't say that now, because all of a sudden this can make us look bad. Oh my lordy. Oh no. Yeah, I forgot to ask. Is this fan really loud in the background?
I don't hear
I don't hear anything.
fans.
Oh, okay, cool. Then we're good. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Pixel Pints. We are the only global gaming podcast where we cover two things that we enjoy, which is good beer and video games. We are not here to promote drinking. Please drink responsibly. And as always, we are on everything that you can find around the globe, which is your Twitters, which is at pixel_pints, and then on Instagram at Pixel Pints Pod. You can find us on YouTube, where we archive all our episodes on Pixel Pints on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasting servicers. We just look up Pixel Pints. You'll find the little pixel pint. Literally, it's a pint that foams pixels. And you just click on that, and then you will listen to our glorious voices all day long. We have so many episodes, you probably could get through maybe a month or two at least of content, I'd say, fellas, right?
You'd go crazy, legitimately crazy, if you listen to us for that long.
I mean, if someone is really doing that, I will send them a mug. I literally will get you an embroidered mug saying, like, you're the greatest Pixel Pint listener in the world, and I will send it to you. Like, I don't mind paying that, because what you've done in listening to us, I greatly appreciate. And
Gotta highlight the episodes where Evan sings at the beginning.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, another one's coming soon, guys. I just need to restring my guitar because it sounds like crap. But
It's more sounds like a baby crying, but that's okay. Anyways, I am your host. Mitch McWomble is out for this week, so I am going to take over hosting duties today, and I am from here in it's usually sunny, but it's midnight, so it's dark here in Los Angeles. And I am joined all the way from the land of the rising sun. For when it is dark here, it is light over there. Hi, Evan.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Good. We do have to talk about the weather, but I'll have Burkhoff lead off on that, and then I'll add my 2 cents in.
Well,
but yeah,
and then I'll
I'm doing
add mine
good.
last too. We'll do.
Okay.
Well, now remember the rule, Evan. Though.
Yeah, I do. Technically, I am. Oh no, we did agree on this. Technically, I am centigrade because
Yeah.
I've
You're in Japan.
lived
Yeah.
in Japan.
But right now it's 64 degrees
for-
Fahrenheit here in LA. A nice brisk.
Wow, that's
That
actually
is that's cool. Yeah.
That's
Here in
pretty
LA,
cool,
to
yeah.
be truthfully honest, compared to last year, it's actually been quite cool here in LA. Compared to like hearing how the US is all like heating up, which I don't like. I'm not saying that that's not happening, and I'm not saying that global warming isn't real, but here in LA, holy cow, it has been a brisk summer. Nothing that's been extremely hot. So, what's the weather over like with you, Evan? I'll let you. We're in Fahrenheit. It's a whole new zone. It's okay. Burkhoff doesn't have to start.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, the rule is if there are more Americans on the show than people that deal with centigrade, then we get to only say Fahrenheit. We don't have to give the temperatures in Celsius. So I was looking at the weather, and today it's 90 in Kyoto, but the humidity is 60%. So although it's
Ooh.
90, it feels like 100.
Yeah.
And that is
Yep.
actually slightly tied to, which everyone who lives in Japan knows how the summers go. When Japan got the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, the board was there's this really famous quote that I keep people are posting on Twitter every time they see a BBC News article about how the Olympians are complaining about the heat, and there's just this snapshot of this runner, he's like about to die, right? And it's
Yeah.
like
You should have seen the
falling apart
triathlon
because
people.
it's
They
so
looked
damn
all
hot.
looked like they were killing over.
The
Well,
dude that
it's
got
funny
the
because-
gold medal was like puking.
I know.
Yeah, dude, and like I'm paraphrasing here, but there's a couple people that got interviewed, and they're like, "Look, I'm an equator person. I lived all over Southeast Asia. Like Japan's summer does not fuck around. It is terrible. It's the hottest, or at least the most humid place that I've ever been in. And one of the Olympic events, they moved to Sapporo, which is in Hokkaido. And on that particular day, it was hotter in Sapporo than it was in Tokyo. So it's like totally just. I know everyone's lashing onto these things, but yeah, it is insanely humid here. So just because it's so humid, it feels like 100, even if it's only 90. And so I was looking at. I'll flip this over to Burkhoff rather quickly. I was looking on my my temperature app. It's like Kyoto 90, Milwaukee 66. Oh no, it says Kyoto 90, partly cloudy, Milwaukee 66, clear, Green Bay partly cloudy 66, Las Vegas dust. It just says dust. And then they have this meter which I've never seen. It says that AQI 113, unhealthy for sensitive groups. So yeah, for some I always have Vegas on my my app here. So
He's always thinking
Burkhoff.
of you, Burkhoff. He's always thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how's-
I'm glad to know that.
how's the weather in Las
Well,
Vegas?
before we move on, just because the Olympics is, we have a small window with Olympic time, so I do want
That is true.
I do want to let people know that if you want to find some of the most amazing highlight coverage of the Olympics, look further not than this show called Tokyo Gold, which is hosted by Rich Eisen, who is known for his football highlights and how he is comedic genius in regards to like going over his highlights. I've never been so excited watching a archery highlight than I did with Rich Eisen calling the highlight. And then when I noticed that speed walking was an actual Olympic event, and he was talking about how they're walking like they got an acorn up their ass, I was
They
dying.
totally do.
I was dying.
They do glide like that, though.
And so, which I have mad respects for. Mad respects. If you they look like they're putting their effort into it. But I'm just saying, if you want to watch some great highlights with a great announcer, go look up Tokyo Gold and Rich Eisen and just find some highlights, including archery. There's been some moments he's talked about. He was like in the highlight reel, he's talking about the situation. You don't see him on the screen, but he's like going over it. He dropped out of his seat by accident when he was doing archery highlights because it was 3 bullseyes in a row, and it was just great. That was great stuff. So if you want to watch cool stuff, it's technically it's on Peacock. He's no longer doing it because it's near the end of the tail end of the Olympics. But if you just look it up on YouTube or like TikTok, he is all over, and it's amazing highlights. So Burkhoff, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I didn't know who this guy was. I'm also
He's known for Sports Center. He used to do Sports Center, and then now he's on NFL Network, and then now he's on Peacock with his own show. But he still does NFL Network highlights, and his highlights are hilarious on NFL Network as well. But he's loving it. He's like, I feel like I'm going back to my Sports Center days. So it's great. Check it out. I'll show you a video after the show. I'll show you one. You'll love it.
All right. I'll check it out. Yeah, it is widespread dust here in Vegas.
I've
87,
never seen that.
87 degrees, 10% humidity, 5-mile-per-hour winds. Yeah, it's actually been pretty mild the last couple days. I'm surprised, especially with the heat bubble that they said was sort of descending on the western U.S. We haven't experienced too much of it, but we have monsoons too, so it's been pretty crazy. We got some pretty torrential rain last week, and then some thunderstorms. So there was a lot of lightning going on.
You sound so excited. Like, ooh, we never get that around here.
Well, it happens like once every few years. So yeah.
Is it one of those situations where like the clouds basically just hover over Vegas and squeeze out, and then the rain goes away, type of thing?
Yeah. So we had my parents over for dinner last Sunday, and it was literally like I picked them up. It was sunny, no clouds. Brought them over to the house, It got really dark and cloudy. Totally freaking drenched everything in the backyard as we were eating dinner. And then less than an hour later, it's sunny outside again. It was crazy.
Like crazy.
I admit,
Funny thing you mentioned rain, because I was at a client's house yesterday, and all of a sudden there was like a bunch of water that hit the window, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's really raining!" And then, and then I look to the other side. It doesn't really look like it's raining, but I was like, maybe it's just my eyes. And then all the two other people that work with the client looked at me and goes, "No, it's not raining. It doesn't rain here." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
that is pretty wild. I do miss those good old Midwestern thunderstorms that just roll
Yeah.
in and roll out in 30 minutes. That just does not happen in Japan. Like you get the rainy season, and
It's just rainy.
I've sent stuff on our Discord chat where it just shows Sunday to Sunday, like 90% chance of rain. And what that means is it just rains all day. It just does not stop. Just where it's situated in the Ring of Fire on the Pacific Ocean, and there's it's pretty shitty. But yeah, summer vacation. Let's talk about some beers, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
To celebrate.
You
I
took
think that's a good segue.
You took my
I'm
job.
sorry.
Apologize. Apologize.
I do apologize. This is not my job.
That is not
This
your
is true.
job. This is not his job. But anyways, like I said, we talk about one thing is video games, which we'll get to in a minute, but we talk about good beer. And guess what? We all drinking today. Yay.
Which is quite
It's a
rare.
rarity,
Which is
a
very
rarity for
rare.
Mitch.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
have to work tomorrow. So, yay.
Cheers to that.
That's a cheers to that, fellas. We're going to. But anyways, someone go first cuz I got to pull my beers out, so.
I got the daily drinker, Pabst Blue Ribbon PBR.
Lovely.
I do have some Miller Lite in the fridge as well, so I might get into that later. We'll see.
No, you chickened
Like
out
a
on
good
me.
old Wisconsin boy.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
you
Even in Vegas.
chickened out on me.
Miller
here
and
in Vegas.
Pabst, two Wisconsin beers.
I do miss it. You know, like look, PBR and Miller Lite, they are what they are, right? Let's not. But it's totally fine. Like as much as I do get a bit snobby about my beer, I still like the beers that you can drink like
So-
a 12 pack of and have a mild hangover, right?
So, all right. So I was driving home today, and I was like, "Fuck, I need to stop and get gas." And I stopped at the one gas station that's right down the street from my house, and all of the carports were filled. And I was like, "Ah, fuck, I can't get gas here." So I'm driving around looking for a gas station, and like right now, gas prices are ridiculous. It's
Are
like
they?
it's like 4.11, 4.12 a gallon. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is in LA. It's probably more than it is here.
No, it's about the same price. Which can I explain why gas prices are up? Because people are like spreading misinformation on why gas prices are up.
It's a combination of factors. I found a place that has 3.80 a gallon. So I was like, all right, I'm pulling in there.
Mhm.
I pulled in there, went inside, and I literally sat and stared at the beer fridge for like 10 minutes. And I was just like, what the hell am I going to buy? What beer do I really want to drink tonight? And they had some hazy IPAs. They had some Firestone Walker 805. They had, some different stuff. And I was like, I'm going with the Pabst Blue Ribbon because I haven't been able to get it in a while. The gas station I normally go to is always out. So that's what I went with tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like as much as I do love my craft beer, I do enjoy just drinking like the Kirin Ichiban Shibori because it's just so drinkable and it's hot outside and I don't drink it and feel like I ate like 3 hamburgers, after like
Yeah.
6 IPAs or something. I couldn't do that in a row. It's too much. So yeah, those are the good things.
All right, I have for
Yeah,
my
go
beer.
ahead, Mitch.
I have
What
the
do you got?
Santa Monica Beach Brew, 310 blonde.
Nice.
So this is actually brewed in Santa Monica. They actually have a map. So they're next to the pier. So that Ferris wheel
right
is
there.
the pier, and if you look
Yeah.
above the
Oh,
Ferris
wow,
wheel,
that's
sorry, my
pretty close
camera.
pretty close to where you're at, right?
No, I'm in Hollywood, so I'm like 30
Okay.
minutes in the other direction. But I play beach volleyball near there. every Sunday. So above it, you'll see above the Ferris wheel, you'll see it's a lifeguard tower. What I've learned from being here in LA is a lot of times you identify your location to other people by what lifeguard towers you're in between.
Yeah, which
Pretty funny.
Which
What
is
number?
something I never you learn as being a newbie. But this one is it's short description. It says we are Santa Monica's first and only craft brewery. We brew California inspired beers for those who live the beach brewed lifestyle. Our refreshing blonde ale balances blonde ale balances subtle malt sweetness with a touch of hops and a clean, crisp finish. So, it's 4.8.
nice.
Sounds about right for like a beach beer, if you want to call it
Yeah, hot
that. Under
day.
5.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had a
easier to do if
couple.
you,
They had a double IPA. I think it had 7%. I
you
was
don't
like,
drink that
ooh.
often though.
I was
Yeah.
like, ooh.
Just get that hot head all tingly. Think I'm gonna switch to PBR after this one. So, Mitch, you've never had this beer, right?
Nope, I never had this one. So this one we'll see how it goes. Now I'm trying to do this over my keyboard, which is scary. So, whoop.
You have a nice mechanical keyboard too.
Almost did it on my microphone. That was gonna be
Dude,
a bad.
that's fine. You can pour it and then just show us the clarity
Yeah.
at a safe distance.
There we go.
Yeah, every now and then, and it pisses me off. It happens every now and then that somehow the liquid will catch an angle of the open mouth where it just like pours over the
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
over it. Yeah, it happens every now and then. It's annoying.
I'll just use my
You try to-
like my screen wipes to wipe the.
There you go.
I don't have regular wipes on accessible at the moment. Thank God I didn't. So I hit the outside of this mic. Like I didn't hit the actual full mic, but I hit the cover around it. So whew, this is an
You
expensive.
see, it's just
yeah,
like
it's an
Mitch
expensive
is like,
mic.
I don't want to pour, and then he does this, and then the whole stream shuts down. I'm like, oh, okay.
I
we
got
know what
my
happens.
PC, guys. I got it on my PC.
And he's handling the stream too, so it just like cuts out.
just-
Like, I don't know.
That would have been the greatest moment in Pixel Pints
Good
history.
episode, guys. A nice tight 20 minutes.
There you go.
Yeah. It's nice and clear.
Yeah.
Looks like a not exactly straw, but
Oh
golden.
wow, that's
Tasty?
weedy. That's weedy. That's very malty. That's very weedy.
Interesting. Okay.
I like it. It's definitely
How's
like
the-
when you guys said it was definitely like a beach. Like it definitely tastes like a very refreshing beach beer, more than it. But it's surprisingly strong. I didn't expect to get that much flavor instantly in the first taste. Usually, like I get it on the aftertaste. There's more up front than the party in the back. It is all up front.
Okay. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much all up front. I like it. I think I'm gonna open the other one, just pour it now. It's just,
Is it you bought a couple of the same then?
yeah, I just
Okay.
yeah, it came in 6-packs, so I'll grab another one now that I don't. Well, now that I won't be working and I can drink more, I'll bring different versions of this one because they have a double IPA I wanted to try out. They had one other one too. I can't remember. Oh, that one was a cider. I really was curious on what it would be like.
Oh, I bet you Rafa would like to know what that tastes like.
Well, if you ever end up getting gout, then maybe you should
Switch to a
start
cider.
you should start finding good ciders to drink because those IPAs are gonna fuck your joints up. I don't have gout, but I know several people that do, and it's when we go out and drink, I can see the pain in their hands. They're like, the gout's kicking in.
Wow.
Double IPA.
Well,
I guess
pouring-
it just it's like the uric acid buildup. That sounds painful.
I was gonna say
Anyways,
pouring the second one, I finally got a foam top on it. Before I didn't have
Pretty
zero.
light.
I had nothing. It was
is it how it's not doesn't seem that carbonated then?
No, not at all.
Okay.
All right, I'll move on. If it's okay with you guys, I'll move on to me. So, I'm fully vaccinated, and so are my two best friends in Japan. So we thought, hey, let's actually Osaka is in a state of emergency right now, so you can't go into a place and drink alcohol there. However, you can do takeout and so we found this
You
place,
can
or a
take
friend
out
had recommended this
alcohol?
place. I say takeout. I guess all I'm saying is you just go to a shop and buy the beer and leave.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a roundabout way of. But a lot of places are takeout as well. So there's this place called the Bottle Shop. Funnily enough, it's mostly cans, but whatever. Bottle Shop sounds like a better name. So we go down to Osaka to Yodoyabashi Station, which is just one station over from Umeda Station, the main Osaka station. We go there, and it's just, like craft beer. It's so hard to find good import craft beer here in large quantities where you can actually sit there and stare at the varieties for 10 minutes like Burkhoff did and then choose PBR in the end. But just it doesn't exist. It's few and far between. So I go in there and it's just all of this beautiful craft beer from all around the world. I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. So we bought a bunch of cans, went to this little island on this river, the Yodoyabashi River, sat under a tree and drank, and then we went back like 3 times, and the staff were like, you guys finished those beers already? We're like, yeah, this is round 2. And then we're like, just so you know, we'll be back for round 3. But most of that beer we're taking home. Like we need to like pretend that we're not alcoholics. I'm just kidding. So long story short, I found the
Oh shit, you
Beer.
got it.
Deftones' Ohm's
I like it.
collaboration.
I like that one. It was pretty good. Yeah.
So, if people are not familiar, the Deftones have already done a collaboration with Belching Beaver,
Yeah. the
which is
Phantom
out of
Bride,
California, I
which-
believe, right?
Now is
Yeah, Belching-
Deftones a band?
It's either California or Oregon. I can't remember if they're in Oregon or
Okay.
Northern California.
It's probably before my time.
Oceanside, California, USA.
Oh, it's like way
So,
south. Yeah.
I believe the first one, the collaboration, was this one, Deftones' Phantom Bride, the
Yeah.
Ooh, that
India
looks
Pale
cool.
Ale.
I like that.
Which I
can.
kept. Yeah, I kept the can because Deftones is one of my favorite bands. This is not something that you can find regularly. So I've had this one. I missed out on the White Pony anniversary beer that they did.
I can't find that anywhere, dude. So
Yeah, I was pretty sad because I did have the chance to get it. So I walk in there. I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like the cover of. Oh, that's the collaboration beer for their new album, which came out this year. So, yeah, nice. Deftones' Ohms. This is a pale ale, so it should be lighter than the IPA. We are looking at
It's like 6.
5.5. So
Okay.
it's, I mean, decently light, a pint. I did pour it already. I took it out of the fridge a little earlier so it could warm up a bit. But real bold flavors for a pale ale, I will say that. Like if it just on its aroma, I would have said this was an IPA. But I did see that video with Chino and the gang going to Belching Beaver and getting totally fucked up. So they just seem like the crew that just want those like heavy, like punch in the mouth, like bitter flavors that you'd get from like a more hoppy beer. So yeah, it's pretty clear. Got that kind of goldish look going on. Not straw, a little deeper than a straw color. Yeah, nice, very aromatic. Yeah, that's good. Not like really good carbonation. Doesn't stay around for too long. Nice, beautiful bite of that hops, not overpowering, and it's got more of a like a pale ale finish. It's not hops slapping you in the back of the tongue,
Yeah.
but it does linger there. And I'm guessing the more I drink this, that bitterness is going to build on the back of my tongue. But yeah. You know what? I actually might prefer this one just because I could probably drink more, considering it's only 5.5% and not like a 7% IPA or whatever Belching Beaver was. But yeah, this is 7%. So yeah, this is good. And I did buy 2, and I will be keeping the can.
Nice.
So yeah, this is a very good beer, and I'm very glad I was able to get this. Like, how cool is that? Like, can I just get famous from being in a band and then just decide like, oh, I'm just gonna make a beer collaboration and just make my own, help brew my own beer, even though that's as
Pixel
close
Pines
as you
can
get
make
to
a
brewing.
collaboration. We just gotta get this big enough, right?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, we're from what? Nothing. Just walk out of the store. Shit.
We're a podcast. You can't. You don't want to do it with a podcast?
We need to be more forward.
I'll keep bugging the guys at Snake Creek, and we'll see if we can get something done.
It's like, look, I've spent enough money here that you guys got to throw me a bone. Just make me like a 1-of-1 can, right? Come on. But yeah, long talk about beer, but yeah, this is good. And that can shop is actually quite close to where I live. relatively. So I will be going back there, and I did spend about $100 in there. I got lots of beer in the fridge.
Well, I guarantee them with our look of our logo, people are just gonna go, "What the heck is Pixel Pints?" and buy the beer anyway.
But we will have to fight over what style of beer it is. That's going to be a long conversation.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I'm curious to see what Dan and Keith will chime in on.
As
but,
long as it's a session beer, that's all we care about. That's the one
Well,
requirement.
there are different levels of proper sesh beers, brah. Depends on what you actually mean by that.
As
Are we
long-
talking?
as
we want
as
to
it's
push it
not-
to the limit. We want to push it to the limit.
As long as it's not an IPA that's too potpourri, I think Keith will be okay
yeah.
with
And
it.
then as long as there's no fruit in it.
Yeah,
you know,
no fruit, not too potpourri.
Maybe that's an episode we got to save for another day. If we make our own beer, what is it that we're making?
Dude, like
So-
3
so
hours
it's-
later.
So it's an episode more about beer than about video games, but we'll do like what we've been playing before that, or like, yeah, whatever. But anyway, now that
All
you
right.
know what we're drinking, let's get to the video games part that we all enjoy so much, which today's topic is going to be brand new entry or remake, question mark. Basically, we all know, well, if you've been living under a rock, which is potentially happening because COVID is still happening, which I totally respect that. Hopefully you got
Patrick
the
lives under a rock.
If you got if you just recently got under the rock, one, get vaccinated. I'm a big advocate for that, so please get vaccinated. And then
All three of us are fully vaccinated. Just throwing it out there.
just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Do what you can to save your fellow man, and then or woman or person that does not define
That's too long of a
themselves by
slogan.
any-
I would cut that final part.
Or-
Gotta be like this,
sorry,
man.
no,
you want to
sorry,
sell it to
I
the
have to
people?
finish
Gotta
it.
be short.
or someone that does not self-identify themselves as any type of pronoun, which is totally cool. Anyway,
No, how about this? Do what you can, save your fellow, man.
or or save your fellow ... You fill in the blank.
Guys,
Sorry.
gals, and non-binary pals.
I like
Hey,
that. I like
there you go.
that. I
That's
like
actually
that.
so I stole that from Kenji Lopez alt, he's a chef.
This is the second time you talked about giving credit to somebody for something you stole. Really?
That's good though.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Anyway, if you've been living on a rock, get vaccinated. 1, 2, Dead Space got announced that EA is making a remake of Dead Space, remaking the first game. And it's coming out in late 2022 is their confirmed window. That's if everything goes as planned. So potentially, let's just say it's coming out 2023 because EA is going to find some way to, delay, which is fine. It happens. Happens to all the games recently. So we'll just say 2023. But anyway, so that brought us up to the question. Should they just make a new entry in the franchise, or should they remake a game? And does this apply for just Dead Space? Are there other franchises where it was better to just make a new entry than make the remake? So I'm gonna go with Evan first because I know you love you some Dead Space, man. You love you some decapitations. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'll just talk briefly about Dead Space.
Splice.
Dead Splice.
Splice.
And then we'll
Splice?
kind of we'll throw it to maybe everyone else referencing past times where maybe they went with the brand new when they should have gone remake, or the other way around. And then also looking towards the future of like, hey, if said game would get made, would you prefer a remake of an older game or a new entry in the series?
Maybe that's what they
but-
should have named it. Dead Splice. That's the
Dead
remake.
Splice.
That's the remake's title. Dead Splice instead of Dead Space.
Yeah, and the reason that we ended up choosing this topic is once all of the rumors are coming out with Dead Space, it seemed like most people are pretty sure it was going to be a remake. However, I saw a lot of chatter of some people just wanting them to do something new in the Dead Space world instead of just doing the same thing again, but making it look prettier, essentially. And in this particular case, that's a hard one because It really depends on how you feel about how Dead Space 3 ended, in particular the DLC. And I don't know if that's something I want to spoil here, although I don't know if anyone really,
The
really
game's
cares
ancient.
about Dead
Just spoil
Space
it because I
lore.
don't even know, and I want you to tell me. So tell me.
Okay.
I've never
Okay,
played
we'll
it,
be
but it's okay.
really, really quickly. So basically, they find these markers where there's this giant, like monolithic spiral thing that basically sends out a code or like some sort of telepathic thing that turns you into the necromorphs. These markers, these monolithic things, are the things that turn people into necromorphs. They're basically giant beacons, sending I don't know, like virus Wi-Fi or something similar to that. And in Dead Space 3, you find out, and I might be getting this slightly wrong, that the main necromorph is just a giant planet. So at the end of the game, you fight basically a necromorph that is, and it's not the necromorph as in the what the humans turn into, because that's just an offspring of the virus that's given from the markers. This might be actually what it is it's just a giant moon-sized creature, but it looks so stupid because it's got these giant glowing like comic bad guy orange eyes, because it's supposed to be obvious that you're supposed to throw shit at their eyes. And then I did not play the DLC, but I've heard that basically what happens in the DLC is it ends with this cliffhanger of 3 giant necromorph moons converging on Earth. And then it ends. So I guess the idea would be Dead Space 4 would be the entirety. It's like Doom Eternal, like the battle from Mars, hell has opened up, now it's come to the Earth. And so I think they were going to do something where you're on Earth trying to deal with the necromorph outbreak, but it's basically just completely destroyed the world. So I mean, that's where it lies. Like, would you prefer something new, or would you want to just go back to the Ishimura and keep it simple, keep it, small corridors, basically riffing on Alien and all these horror movies in space that we've at least horror fans have grown up and loved. So I'm a bit on the fence about that, but I guess I can throw it to either Burkoff. Either
Well, you're on the
your
fence,
just
but
general
what's your
thoughts.
answer?
If the moons didn't look so stupid, I might want to
That's
see.
the criteria. The
That's
moons
a
don't
weird-
look
They-
stupid.
That's a weird
They might
hill
be.
to die on.
They might be this. They're the second stupidest final boss, um, just under the real final boss of Dragon Quest XI. Is the stupidest looking final boss I've ever had the misfortune of playing or fighting against. Although the game's great, but the final boss is ridiculous looking. I just think a giant moon that caused the whole necromorph thing just is kind of dumb. But then I don't know, like the further you get into lore and you start getting specific, and not keeping it esoteric or like mysterious, then you start losing people. But did it have to be a giant moon? I am really, really filibustering here.
So, all right. So, Dead Space is
Thank you for saving me.
one of those franchises that I've never played. I've never played any of the games in the series. And I know that Vin has he's been like, dude, this is a fucking trilogy that you have to play. Like 3 sucks, but play all of them anyway. All 3 of them are on EA Play. I do have them on my list of games that I want to play. But I'm curious now, like if they decide that they're going to do a remake, I may just skip the originals and jump right into the remake.
That's a good angle to take, right?
If they decide
remakes.
that it's going to be a new entry in the series and it's going to continue the story, I will go back and try to play the old ones first. So I don't know. Like it all depends on what they do. And I think that either in this case, for me, works because I could either skip the ones that have already come out, which I'm sure Liam and Vin would be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" For skipping them. But yeah, if it's just a remake of the series, okay, I'll jump into the new one, maybe go back to the old ones. If it's a new entry in the series, okay, I'll reserve the new entry and go back and play the old stuff.
Here's what I'm shocked by, fellas. This is EA we're talking about. And they did not decide to make Dead Space 4 and then make a remastered collection of 1, 2, and 3 and try to sell it to you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm shocked by a little bit.
That could be what they're announcing. Who knows?
But
You know what I mean?
the game is a remake. We already know that. So like there is no like there's
It can't be a remaster.
it can't be
anymore.
they're not going to make the remaster and ship it out because no one's going to want to play it because they're going to play like you are going to play the new remake, which I'm like half teetered. So like I played about a third of the original Dead Space and I stopped.
Okay.
For me, the scares were good. The combat was okay. I think it was it played pretty dated. And here's why
When
I
did
make
you play it?
Huh?
When did you play it?
Like
When it
like
first
5
came
months
out?
ago.
Okay, so just recently.
Just
you went back to it.
recently, yeah. I played on EA
Okay.
Play through my Game Pass subscription on PC Game Pass.
Right, which is how I would do it.
And so why I say dated is because we'll get to another game we'll talk about later for me, which is we'll talk about Resident Evil. But the reason why I would say I wouldn't compare the two and saying when I say dated is because like Dead Space is a third person over the shoulder shooter. And there are current ones to date that play much better than this one. And I
Okay.
understand it's because it's been so long ago, but it's not like a drastic change where if I went back to play Resident Evil 2, it is dated because it is like fixed camera angles and tank controls, but those were good solid controls and still are good solid controls for that type of game, which is the camera angles and the tank controls. Where here, if you compare it to something I played recently in a third person over the shoulder shooter, it's pretty dated and its feel, the movement. I think the scares were really good. I felt like as if I wanted more scarcity with ammo conservation. I wasn't getting that. And so it felt more like an action game, which then lost some of the horror elements. And then the story wasn't propelling me enough forward because the other things were lacking.
Yeah,
So,
the story's not great. It's like, oh, Isaac, go to Sector 8 and
Yeah.
push a button so that the doors in
Exactly.
Sector C can open.
Yeah.
Like that's all that game is.
and then you go on another train and they're like, go to this area and they're going to hit more
Yeah.
buttons. And I'm like,
It's
I'm
more
like,
about the atmosphere and the area to area scares and kind of shocks of like really small corridors and like creepy things popping out of walls.
and I get that. And they do a really good job of that. I just think there is only so much one can take of that specific type thing because there's only so many jump scares you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm actually way more interested in playing the remake because I think they can take all those elements, and then because of the modern age of technology, I think they can really up it more, and actually think they can do a better story, which will make people more engaged with the character because Isaac is a very lifeless character. He is very much, you don't see his face because he's covered with that mask the full time. There's no much of an intro to him. And I think it doesn't propel you enough. If like for me, story is one of the big major components of what I enjoy, especially if it's going to be a third person action adventure game, which is what this is, or action horror game, action shooter. Like story is a good element that needs to be happening. Like Alien is an okay, like it's like Alien, but Alien has a better story.
Oh, and better characters and
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you
know,
care
it's-
about the characters. I don't care about Isaac, unfortunately. So hopefully they change that
Right.
for
I
me.
mean, yeah, slightly different. Where like you spend, it's a slow burn. Right? You spend a lot of time with the crew and figure out the dynamic and the characters, and then the horror happens at the midway point, and then Ripley has to figure his shit out. Whereas Isaac is just a space engineer, and they're like, "Oh, go here, shit's gone crazy." All right,
Yeah, shit's gone crazy.
Go do the thing.
And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I love you, Isaac." I'm like, "I don't even know who you are, lady." It's just like,
They do a bit more with his relationship with his girlfriend in part 2. I don't know if that'll necessarily work for you in any way, but there's an interesting thing that you brought up. This is my final say on Dead Space is because the whole giant moon thing is so stupid. what if, because at least the rumor was they looked at what Capcom did with the RE remakes. They're like, oh, they totally succeeded. Let's try to do the same thing, because they've seen it
Maybe, yeah.
proof that it has succeeded, especially with a third-person over-the-shoulder horror game being remade, and that's why they put the money behind this remake. Let's say this one is successful and they do make a 2, and then they get to 3 and they're like, you know what? That fucking moon thing was really stupid. Let's rewrite it. Let's surprise him at the end so it's not a giant moon with these googly orange eyes. And then they make it better. So maybe they should start with the remake.
I feel like you're giving EA a lot of credit right now.
I think I am.
To even get to that, like you took a huge jump. Like they've already done, like what we want them to do. Plus, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, I should just be happy that I'm getting more
I have
Dead
a feeling
Space.
they'll remake the first one, and I think they'll go completely in a different direction because 3 was so hated. They're just like, we don't want to get near that crap.
It's funny.
Yeah,
so
do something different. I don't care. Rewrite the series like Final Fantasy VII Remake or something. Try something new.
Final Fantasy VII did not rewrite the series. We're not gonna. We'll get into that, but whatever.
it's alternate universe, whatever.
Okay, what are you gonna say, Breakoff?
I was gonna say, all right, so a lot of people hate Dead Space 3, but a lot of people hate Mass Effect 3 as well. And I really like Mass Effect 3. That's like one of my favorite entries in the series. So I'm curious if I were to get through all the Dead Space games, if I would feel the same as most of the Dead Space audience.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Dead Space 3.
Depends on what you like.
For someone not playing it, but for someone that followed what happened with Dead Space in general, specifically with Dead Space, what ended up happening was they were horror games for the first 2, and then it turned into an action game. It literally, they did the pivot, great point you made, because it came around the same time.
Yeah.
The pivot Resident Evil did, which is 4 was four was a mix of action, horror, and horror setting, and then 5 turned it up the action more, and still got grave reviews, but
it was the best-selling RE5 game, I think, even now, right?
Well, the thing was because RE was pivoting. It was being like, okay, well, we can go action if we want to. So what they were doing was we're going to turn up the action a little bit, turn down the horror a little bit, but still keep the action. I mean, still keep it survival horror. And I think that's what Dead Space was doing too, because if you look at Resident Evil 6 is like an action game. It's not even a horror game. It's an action game.
Right.
Which I think Dead Space was seeing, oh my God, RE is selling more copies than they ever did before. We have a similar type genre. Let's pivot because that's what people want. And then they got the blowback because Dead Space is more horror than probably Resident Evil ever has been in quite some time. Even Resident Evil 4 is way more action than Dead Space 1 and 2 ever was in regards to...
Yeah, well, and...
Yeah, so I think I might actually like that.
Right. It depends on what you like. Yeah.
I think you'll like it, but I mean, I might go back and go. I actually have to start over because I uninstalled everything. But I might go back and play it. Who knows?
I will say this: I liked Dead Space 3 more than other people did. But what it essentially did was it took it from pure horror. I don't want to go down this corridor because it freaks the shit out of me, and they moved a lot of it to this ice planet where you're outside in the open more, and it wasn't this confined space. Plus, it added co-op.
Yeah. Which I was gonna say,
took away
Burkoff,
from
if we make it,
well,
we can play together, Burkoff. We'll.
That's fucking Mass Effect 3 as well. It doesn't really force you, but you really have to play.
You don't have to. Yeah.
But that's also Resident Evil 5 as well, Burkoff, because they took them outside. It was sunny the entire time. There was really rarity of any dark setting in Resident Evil 5, compared to Resident Evil 4 took place at night for a majority of the game. And even if it was daytime, it was cloudy. Where here in Resident Evil 5, they were in sunny Africa with no freaking rain anywhere, so it was sunny all day long.
Yeah, okay.
These huge open spaces. Yeah, there was none of that apprehensiveness and that anxiety. The final thing about Dead Space 3 is they added microtransactions to it. They basically put horse armor into the interface. So when you go to your little bench, you could go in and buy the guns and the armor and essentially break the entire game, which given EA's getting its greedy little hands over that. I totally understand the blowback. You didn't have to interact with that stuff, but it's that type of stuff bothers me. I still like Dead Space 3. There was a little bit of horror, but yeah, it started moving towards like Resident Evil 6 territory.
But but in the end, like, to be truthfully honest, it was kind of because Dead Space came around this. Not so we're talking about 3 games. They all came around the same time. Resident Evil 5,
Right.
Dead Space 3, and Mass Effect 3 all came around the same time, which was the pivot from whatever genre you were to go to an action game. That's what everybody wanted.
Yeah.
That was the
Make more money for us.
that was
no
the
one
hot
buys this horror shit.
Yeah, that was the hot ticket item. So like that, it's kind of funny we talk about all 3 of those games because they all suffered the same illness, which was go to action. Which some for better and some for worse. Like you can determine which one you think is better or worse by your own opinion. But actually, since we're talking about Resident Evil, I'm actually going to talk about one where I think it was better not to have the remake. And
All right,
I would say it was Resident Evil.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I adore is probably, that's a funny word to use for me.
You are a fan in
Yeah, you're like a super fan. You'd like
Yeah.
speed run those games and try to get
Well, I was-
S's on all of them,
I
right?
meant, yeah, I didn't mean I adore, but I because I've done a review of Resident Evil 2 Remake before on my YouTube channel back in the day. And I said it was nearly perfect, which I still hold to that, a testament of time as a remake. It's nearly perfect. But I did have a huge gripe with it, which held it back, which I think is the reason why I'm now saying I wish there wasn't the remake. Because what made Resident Evil 2 so special, the original for the PlayStation 1, was the co-stories that would take place between each other. So if you didn't know, back in the
Leon
day,
and Claire.
yeah. So back in the day, if you didn't know, there were
Two discs.
It was 2 discs, Leon and Claire. And what you could do is there are technically 2 full complete stories where the characters are actually simultaneously doing different things during points at the game, and there is no like continuity breaking at that time with those 2 completely different storylines. Obviously only one storyline can be canon, and we know which one it is, which funny enough is disc 2 as the first game you're supposed to play, and then disc 1, which makes no fucking sense, but whatever, it's the better story. But what happened was in the remake they kind of threw it in last minute because originally they weren't going to have it and fans complained, which I think they did a good job of adding it. But unfortunately, when you put the 2 plots together, it makes no sense because certain characters show up at certain moments and they're like, you're supposed to be dead, or, oh no, you're supposed to be in the hallway right now, or why am I fighting the same boss in the same room at the same time when the other person's supposed to be doing the same thing. Now they did have 2 different final bosses, which I appreciate they actually did that. I'm happy they did that. But in my mind, I think that's one of the most special things about that game. And unfortunately, because people won't go back and play the original because they have the remake now, people will always see it as, well, this one never had like 2 full congruent stories. And it's like, it actually did if you played the original.
Yeah. I haven't played the remake yet, but
I mean,
Capcom
it's good.
Capcom has put 7. I'm sure they're gonna put 8 on Game Pass, so I'm sure that 2 remakes going to be on there as well.
No,
And when it hits Game Pass, I'm gonna play it for sure.
it's not going to go on Game Pass. I don't
All
believe
right.
you.
I'll throw a question to you, Mitch, then, because you're a big Resident Evil fan. In terms of remake versus new game, and we're going to get both in this case because Capcom is just rolling these games out. They got the factory set up, they got all their things in place, and the shit's just coming out every year. What makes you more excited, an RE9 or an RE4 remake?
After playing
Yeah.
8, 9, hands down.
Not okay. All right.
I like art. And here's the other thing. It's like, I don't think
and think about it this way, like updated, like the Dead Space game is going to be, where some of the archaic stuff that doesn't work anymore in terms of how like slow the shooting might be and the movement, it would be updated for your average third-person over-the-shoulder shooter now, right? Like you would get the new.
But at the same time, like, it still works really well. Like
My wife is making fun of me, by the way.
for the elements it is. Oh my god. For the elements,
She's on the other side of the camera going like this. Now I can't use my hands for the rest
for
of
our
God damn it.
audio listeners, he's looking like a buffoon, putting his hands out and just like shaking them like he's in the background dancing at a club.
I was using too many. I got too excited. I was using my hands too much when I spoke, and then my wife made fun of me. So now I'm just gonna
It's teacher
like a little
hands. I
kid.
get it. It's teacher
I'll-
hands.
I'll put my hands in my pockets and kick rocks while walking down the street. Sorry, Mitch. Please continue with your RE9, RE4
it's okay.
conversation.
Again, like, here's the other thing is like, the story continuity also gets ruined because they technically made changes in RE2 and 3 remakes. So by remaking 4, I wonder what changes they're going to make to something that RE4 for me is like one of the best stories in the RE franchise. And
That's great.
I do like the story of the remakes of 2 and 3, but again, like, it lacks some of those elements that made them special. I mean, I guess 3 as a remake works really well. I think it's lacking a few pieces from the old game, which I really miss. But that's why I'm more excited about the future, because I don't think usually you remake a franchise if it's broken. Nothing about RE right now in my mind says the franchise is broken. I just think
RE4 is a bit archaic to play now, even though it like revolutionized how third-person shooters played and felt. It feels a bit old at this juncture.
Yeah, I wouldn't say broken, but in need of a refresh.
Why would you need a refresh of RE2? Why don't you just play the future games?
Oh, I'm not saying that you
nostalgia.
Need to. Yeah, I'm not saying
into
that
dollars.
I'm not saying that you need to. I'm just saying that.
No, they're cashing the cha-ching. It's tricky. It's just for me, and also because I love the franchise so much, and I love a lot of the elements they have. It's just a really you can't win. You can't win. There's just no way you can win with.
Mitch, you can win. Because Capcom is doing it. They are going to release 9, and they're also going to release 4 remake.
Yeah, but here's
I will say Capcom is probably the best example of a remake reboot out there. So,
yeah, I mean, no
they've-
shade. Yeah, no shade to them. I think they do a great job. Even like they did a great job of remaking 1 back in the day. like they brought in the original
on the
director.
GameCube, yeah.
Well, yeah, and they brought out the original director who made the original game, and he decided to remake the first game. So like, totally, it's all there encompassing for the whole thing. But the wife is waving, so we must wave back. It's only proper procedure.
She's gonna be making coffee in the background. Just ignore her. I'm just gonna turn my mic off and listen to you guys.
No worries.
Okay. So yeah, no, Capcom is great. Capcom is amazing. Capcom has been doing everything right in the department, and what I want now from them is to, Evan, I want both things. I want both. Give me both. But what I also want is I want them to release the old games again for the new consoles, so people can play the originals, because I think the
Classic
originals
versions.
are still great. Yeah, I don't think they have classics available.
So it would be cool if in the remakes they had the classic versions
built
bundled.
in a package
Yeah.
deal. Buy all the
Yeah, like,
remakes of the original game with it included. I think that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Do that.
that would be cool.
Do that. I mean, heck, it's gonna cost you. Do it as a pre-order bonus, for God's sakes. Like, I don't care if that's a pre-order bonus or if you pay it.
That's some Activision Blizzard shit.
Well,
but okay.
Berghoff, the only reason I say that is it's going to cost them money to port the thing over. So, like, the only way they can do that
It's not
is,
going to cost them that much.
But
yeah.
but again, to like do the cost, like, well, you can say it's a pre-order bonus, and if you don't pre-order the game, it costs you like $3. Like, do something like that where it's like,
Sure, yeah, like I'll buy it for $5.
Yeah, do something like that. But like that's my only gripe, is I just want the original classics to be available for people to play, because some of these games, yes, tank controls suck. I mean, I'm good at them because I played those types of games forever as a child. Like I was a deep hardcore person about it. But they still play great. And I go back and play RE2 if I could once a year, like the original. I don't have my PlayStation 3 with me right now in LA, so I can't play it right now, but usually I'd be playing it at least once a year. And it's good. It's so good. So anyways, Berghoff, what's your thing?
I got a whole list of games.
Oh shit!
Actually,
Of course you do. Of course you do. You always have more than one. Like the requirement's one, and you're like, I go 7.
Let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. I've actually got 8 on the list.
Damn.
Let's go. I'll turn my mic off. Let's hear it.
I'm hearing
All
that
right, so
mixing. That mixing.
The reason I picked as many as I did is I'm not sure which ones you guys actually want to talk about or which one you
I mean, I have another one, but I was gonna let you talk first.
I don't know which ones you guys have opinions on, so I'm gonna throw a few out here. Grand Theft Auto needs a new fucking entry in the series. Yes or no?
No, it's the same game.
It needs a new goddamn entry in the series.
Rafa needs one because he needs to update his new drug to go into his veins because he's got too much GTA 5 in him. It's causing an allergic reaction, which means he never shows up on the show anymore because he's too bad putting in that GTA Online in his veins, going, oh, GTA, oh, so good.
I don't know. I'd like to travel to San Fierro or some of the other areas.
You know what I would love to see from GTA? Put me in another country. Put me in France.
I wonder what
The
Rafa
French
would say about
version
that.
of GTA. I'd love that.
He might argue that taking that franchise out of the States kind of takes it away from like a very important part of
No.
that satire.
It
that
does.
game
It
is
does.
talking about.
Yeah, it does have a lot of commentary on. Yeah, like some of my favorite moments are just driving around, listening to talk radio, and GTA.
That doesn't mean
So-
French don't have podcasts. French have podcasts? Like no. From moving from,
I understand what you're saying.
I-
I would rather see somewhere I haven't been before, Mitch. I agree with you. But as
also-
a devil's advocate, I think people would argue that like Americana in some version of it, part of
Right.
it is important to.
I
what the series
get
is.
you, but and I know you're just trying to play devil's advocate. The
Yeah, I mean,
counter,
I don't really-
yeah, I know. The counter,
GTA is okay. Like I like it, but it's not like
yeah.
best.
But the counter I say to you in general is that the reason why I say put it in France, we already have tons of games that take place in the Americana style. But let's look at a new perspective on what's the Frenchicana style. Like no one knows what the Frenchicana style is. No one knows what the Japacana. Actually, sorry, yeah, Japacana because they.
We talking about fusion food here? We got.
But
I was
I
gonna
think
say
Well,
But
hey,
again,
that's why
I
we-
played
that's why-
Assassin's Creed Unity, which takes place in France.
But I was gonna say
think that,
that's why we love.
French Revolution, overrated.
I
Fuck
was gonna-
democracy. It's not important.
But I was gonna say that's why we love Sleeping Dogs so much. It
Because
offered.
Ah,
It offers such.
There's your point.
It offers
There's
such
your
a
point.
fresh
That's a great
take
point.
on the China Kana of GTA. Like that's what it did.
Don't say that. Hong Kong people will not like that. You mentioned China.
Sorry, Hong Kong China. Ask your wife
But that's
if that's a good word. Hong Kong China.
That is a great point though, because Sleeping Dogs, it's nice to be somewhere else. Like take the idea, like how those games are built and designed
Mm-hmm.
with the missions and the atmosphere and like the fighting and the guns and the driving and all that type of stuff. Take it out of the States and put it somewhere that like most people haven't been in Hong Kong. Yeah.
Like how
with
cool
good
would it
side
be,
quests?
how cool would it be
Or
like a
it's-
quest that where you have to like go rob the like you have to go into the oh Jesus, what's the thing in France that the tallest thing? Wow.
I don't know.
Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower,
Really?
thank you. You go to the Eiffel Tower and you rob a bunch of people or you go kill a bunch of gang members in the Eiffel Tower. Like that's
Or like
The only-
steal
the only
some
thing
art
that-
from the Louvre or something.
No, the
Sorry,
only thing that
go
I
ahead,
can
Burkhoff.
think of is Kamurocho. And there might be another series that's like that, which does take place in Japan. In a very
that we love
specific-
so much. But I think it's such a different game though. Like I really can't compare Yakuza to GTA. They're too different.
So
they're very
all right,
different.
I kid. The other ones that I have on my list, Parasite Eve. Would love to see a remake of Parasite Eve, not a new entry, because the third birthday was fucking crap. That was a shit game. Don't even come at me with that.
They
if you
didn't
want
even have
to,
a good second
at me on
birthday.
at me on Twitter. Yeah, okay, but
No,
it's not.
I'll just yeah. Go ahead, Burkoff. Sorry.
It's not a very good game. The first two were decent. A
The
new
combat was
version.
interesting, and
Yeah.
the story is like it's like David Cronenberg kind of body horror stuff. That is the first time I ever heard midichlorians, by the way, not Star Wars, the prequels.
Right,
It
right.
was in
No,
Parasite Eve.
it wasn't midichlorians. It was mitochondria.
God damn it, you're right. It was mitochondria. It's always mitochondria, dude. That opening opera scene. Imagine
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
in like, in
in full
graphically
4K
now.
HDR. Yeah.
That shit was
Um,
shocking. Yeah, that's a
all
good
right,
one. Good
So
pick.
I've got that one. I've got Mother Earthbound, a new entry in the Mother series.
Sorry, I have no idea what that is.
You know what the fuck Earthbound is?
No.
What?
BMT. BMT.
It's
Before my time.
wait, no, Burkoff, we have to speak his language. Ness in Smash Brothers, the kid with the red cap and the baseball bat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's the main protagonist from Earthbound, which is a JRPG that was called Mother 2. The series is called Mother in Japan.
So
Earthbound in the States.
there was
Yeah.
Mother on NES,
JRPG.
and then Mother 2 was localized as Earthbound
Okay.
in the US.
Yeah.
There is
Yes,
a Mother 3.
Yes, sorry. I only know. Yeah, Mother 3 came out in 2006. Yeah, I only know.
Lucas with the blonde hair, the
Yep,
girl in Smash Brothers.
I see him now.
He's in Mother 3.
Okay. See, like, this is the thing of, like, Smash Bros. Sometimes I don't even know where these characters come from. That is a prime example.
There you go. First it was Galaga. Now you got some
Yeah.
Earthbound knowledge.
So I'm
Adding.
cool.
Well,
I'm
I get to
cool
play
with-
my first Samus game next month. I'm super pumped. Dread looks great,
Oh,
man.
man.
Wait,
Yeah, I got the
first
special
Samus
edition.
game?
Yeah, my first
Have you-
Metroid game.
You've never played a Metroid game.
No.
Funnily enough,
Get the
Switch,
fuck
the
out of
Switch is
here.
my
developers
first
had said-
console. I mean, I had a handheld for. I did,
You
like,
have Switch Online, right?
yeah.
Play Super Metroid, dude.
Is it on there?
Yes, it is absolutely on there.
Oh, I don't really
Maybe.
check because Nintendo's such as a crappy online service.
Dude. All right.
I know. I was gonna play the final game in the series
I
first.
so cold.
Okay, Mother Earth. Okay, keep going.
Splinter Cell could use a fucking reboot.
I think it just could use another game because honestly, they keep
No. So they keep trying to add to Sam Fisher's story. Was it Blacklist or Black Cell?
Blacklist.
Blacklist,
Blacklist.
yeah, which I really, really liked.
It was a great game, but he was older, and he's got his daughter, and he's like family shit, and you're on the plane and all that. Decent game, but it needs a reboot. It needs
What was
Sam
the daughter's
Fisher.
name? Do you know?
I don't remember the daughter's name.
Well,
She,
I'm thinking like, why don't you just continue the story, but do her as the new new protagonist?
Right.
I don't think it was set up for her to be.
Don't have to
like a
be.
s-
You just
like a
put it in the game to
spy or
make
whatever.
it. That's why you put
Okay.
it in the game to make it. Like have her
I'm
watch her
I'm
dad.
perfectly fine
Like
with.
watch her dad be killed, and then be like, it's called Splinter Cell Revenge, and it's about her
That's
getting
some-
revenge. I like that.
That's some Taken 3 bullshit, man, because she wasn't trained
That
for that
is.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm,
Oh yeah,
I'm perfectly, I'm perfectly
I did
fine
watch
with.
Taken 2, and where she had to drive the car, and I'm like,
Nice.
you don't even have your driver's license. Get
It's
out.
just
that
not
you can do
believable because
that.
she was not.
I
Yeah,
know,
she has no
she
history.
couldn't
She wasn't
drive.
like
I know.
Secret Service member or anything.
I was so thrown off by that, but okay, sorry, Brett.
But I will
go
say,
ahead.
Burkoff, that is a good point because whereas in a series like Mission Impossible, where you need Tom Cruise at the helm, therefore you can't reboot it, in video game form, you totally can. And Splinter Cell is a good pick. It's because the story that of Sam Fisher continuing on, it gets so complicated that you
It
just
does.
need to completely wipe the slate with all the lore or like the inconsistencies in the games as this story with Sam Fisher builds up. Like you're totally right. Like nothing's canon. Just it's a new game starring Sam Fisher, and we're gonna start from one. And then they don't even have to think about all the bullshit that
Yeah, it would piss a
might
lot of people
happen
off.
with
It would
making a new game.
it would piss a lot of people off, but I think you would get more fans in the end.
As
Well,
long as
why
the
don't you just
gameplay's
do
good
this-
and the spy story's good, I think
Why-
it could win people over.
Why don't you just make
Yeah.
Alpha Protocol starring Sam Fisher and call it Splinter Cell?
Absolutely. You want to throw in the dialogue options. You want to throw in the multiple endings. Absolutely. I'm totally down for that
Romantic
shit.
options. You know,
Yeah.
I want to be with that Russian broad.
Sam Fisher fucks.
Sam Fisher. Yeah, Sam Fisher
Well,
gets down.
the only
you know?
time I remember about Alpha,
And he's got the night vision goggles on.
I know what talk about-
I can see everything. You can't hide in the dark anymore.
I know. Oh my god. I know what I'm touching. But the thing about Alpha Protocol, I laugh about all the time is because there's a specific scene in Alpha Protocol where you can romanticize yourself while you're being held up in a torture chamber, basically trying to be interrogated for information. But then you can romanticize the woman into sleeping with you and letting you go, which is like
Mitch,
crazy.
sidebar. You and I need to do a stream of Alpha Protocol because I
need to-
have it.
I need to buy the game because I want to play. I've never
I
played it.
would
Dude,
I
watch
want to
that.
I
play
have
it.
it.
Heartbeat.
I have it for I have it for PS3 and I have it on my Steam account.
But I've never played it, so I want to play it.
Oh,
Oh,
Dude.
this is a shoe-in for some Pixel Pints content where
yes. We need to stream this shit.
Yeah, we'll stream
It's-
it, and then
yeah.
you can talk me through it, and I'll play on Steam, and then we'll
the
I'll
Splinter Cell
buy it.
coach.
I'll buy it on
Rip
Steam
off-
and I will fucking gift it to you so you can play it.
We'll rip off
Okay.
Ultimate Brent's dark.
I can't say
Bloodborne
no to
coach.
that. I can't say no to
Yeah.
that.
There you go.
Yeah, and we'll stream it. Yeah, I'll set up a
That totally
I'll set
works.
up I'll set up a cool little Alpha Protocol Pixel Pints layout for us to stream it on, and you know, throw all those streamers out of the water with our great looking content, because that's how we do it here at Pixel Pints. If you're listening to the audio version, if you're
key art, Photoshop.
Yep.
If
If
you
you're
will,
listening, if you're
we'll
listening
send
to
it Japan.
I was gonna say, for listeners, if you're listening to the audio only version, you are missing out on some high quality camera work and some transitions. Like, check out the YouTube version at YouTube. You just go to Pixel Pints. We're right there. It's awesome. I forgot to do the thumbnails for like the last 12 episodes, but maybe
So good.
I'll maybe get back to
Ooh, that's some behind the curtain
Right.
stuff. Don't tell them that.
All
you're
right,
doing that.
I got three more.
Oh,
Three
shit.
more, guys.
Three
All right.
more? Holy crap. Okay.
Prince
Do
of Persia needs a fucking new entry in the series.
I
They're
think
doing
they
the
need to-
remake.
No, I don't.
They've been working on it for how long now?
No, I'm not. I don't know if it's going to be good or not. I'm just saying that they're remaking the
Well,
one
I don't
that
know.
everyone loves from the
Well, it's
original
more like a
PS2 trilogy.
remaster. It's like it is a remake, but
original.
it's like a Blue Point remake where it's like a 1-for-1.
Right.
Oh,
right.
they're using like old assets, but like putting.
Like
I don't
all
know,
the
like-
scenes are gonna be the same scenes. It just looks better, but it's not like remastering the original images. They're remaking all the images from the ground up, but like every single area is exactly the same in regards to gameplay and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If like I mean, Shadow of the Colossus remake by Blue Point was almost essentially the same thing, and I have
Right.
zero complaints about that. Like that was a great one.
But I
Nice platinum
liked.
trophy too.
I did like the Prince of. So like they have the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time series.
Yeah.
I liked the Prince of Persia game that came after it. Like,
Talking about
2008
the-
one
you're
where
talking about the
you couldn't die.
cartoony one.
yeah, it wasn't
Well
ama-
shaded,
It wasn't
yeah.
like amazing, but like there were
was like-
some really good elements in there. I think the story was interesting. I liked the characters in most ways, and the combat system seemed interesting, but it never really got to like the point where it needed to get to. That I was really like based, and it lands on a huge cliffhanger. Like I really would have loved to see that game continue. So I would love to them. I would love for them to take that Prince of Persia game in 2008 and redo it. So
See,
like,
that's a good point, Mitch, where you had the Sands of Time trilogy, and then they tried something new instead of
Mhm.
going with a Prince of Persian 4. So in that case,
Right.
you appreciate that they tried something new with the name instead of just making Prince of Persian 4 that was essentially an extension of the original trilogy.
and the other thing
on
is like
PS2.
in the end, I don't think it needed. It could have. Well, I guess here's the other thing. technically, it doesn't even need to be called Prince of Persia because I don't think the guy is even the prince from Persia. Like by the end of the game,
about this story
by the end of the game,
Yeah,
you don't even know if
that's-
he's a prince or not. I don't think he's a prince from Persia. He's just a merchant guy. So like,
I'm not,
I don't
I'm not
know
thinking about that hard.
I don't even
I'm
know
just-
if like the future of the story he was supposed to like become the Prince of Persia, and that's why they were calling it. I don't even know why they called it Prince of Persia.
I'm
They could have
just-
called it something
I'm-
else.
I'm thinking more of them getting away from the open world Assassin's Creed bullshit and getting back to a focused action adventure platformer.
Puzzle platformer.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that.
that's,
Yeah.
I
That's,
love
that's what I'm
their puzzle
talking about. It's
platforming.
like,
And it's still
when I-
good today. And that,
Well,
dude,
that's what
that
I'm
stuff
saying,
was
like-
for the PS2, and that stuff still holds up in regards to like
That's-
great platforming.
That's what I'm saying. When I say Prince of Persia, that's what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to like
Yeah,
the lore
I feel
or
you. I feel
any of
you.
that kind of stuff. Like, just get away from the open world where I've got to spend 100 hours to get through the fucking story. Like, no,
I
Give
agree.
me-
Yeah.
give me a 10 to 15 hour fucking action adventure platformer puzzle or that I can get through.
I think I
Um,
think I think this happens in a lot of our conversations, Berghoff, when we talk about like games we want to come back. It's not necessarily like the story, the lore, all that kind of stuff. It's more of like just like give us like the concepts of the gameplay, which is like when we talked about give us like a Tomb Raider game that actually has tombs and puzzles.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we love that stuff. Like, and it's like,
Yeah,
why
the
do you go
reboots
away
focus.
from
Yeah, the reboots focus way too much on her just fucking murdering everybody, and I don't
Well,
care.
that? I think it's not only just the murdering, but I think the platforming is very basic in regards to like it's like Nathan Drake and Uncharted, which is I don't want to sound horribly
the
rude, but
tomb-
like it's pointless traversal because it's not actually takes much thought to do.
Yeah, but the tomb puzzles in 2013 were fucking legit. Like,
I mean,
if that was the whole, if that was the whole game,
all three games,
those-
the tomb
those-
puzzles are great. It's just
But
there's
I'm
not
saying-
enough of them.
yeah, if those sections were the whole fucking game, and that was the 20 hours that I spent,
Mm-hmm.
that would be awesome. Like I would love that.
Yeah.
It is definitely the most unique part about that more recent Tomb Raider trilogy and the best parts about those games. Because
Absolutely.
everything else is very just third
Third-person action adventure.
shooter.
Yeah, exactly.
With
Like,
the hub
I'm-
worlds and you
yeah.
keep returning to it.
Generic.
Yeah.
do I need to fucking skin this animal or harvest it or what? Like, I don't care. Give
Right.
me the
I think
fucking
the movement
tombs.
and the shooting is fun and the locations that they go to are fun. But yeah, like Mitch is
It's-
saying, like a lot of the traversal is just there are no stakes. It's just very, very easy, and you're just moving from A to B to fill. Like I need to get over there, so I'm just gonna like slide
Yeah.
and then grab a ledge and then crawl for 5 minutes, and it's like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just going through the motions at.
But
at
the
this
like in the
point
old
type of
school
thing,
Tomb
yeah.
Raiders, you actually had a process of being like, how do I get from point A to point B? Because
well, you
like,
didn't know
you
what the
actually have
fuck
to
you
be
were
creative,
going.
and it on top of it, it was very basic. Like it was still basic controls in regards to like these objects are squares because of the polygons and how old the technology was back in the day. Wow, look at me
I
sound.
love when you jump, you put your hands up and like
Yeah.
wait for you to come down and like grab
Yeah.
on the ledge.
and like
Some old school PS1
and
shit.
so when you compare it to modern day, it's like they completely forgot about it. And I get they're trying to be a little more accessible, but I just really would love them to try. Like even if they
Yeah,
made
the more
something
the
where
more
like,
niche you get, the
but I think there's ways you could do it. Like you can do it that way. But then if for the people that want to know, you can give them like a scanning option where they can scan and see the path that they should take. Where for then the people can just look in the environment to go, okay, I need to go here, here, and here. And Steph
well,
saying,
they had those you could tweak that stuff in at least Shadow of the Tomb Raider, where
yeah,
like nothing is highlighted. Stuff that you could climb or climbable sections or where to go up to like completely like blinking lights. Like this is where you're supposed to
Yeah.
go, which is
mean-
much appreciated because then you can just tweak
right.
like
Right.
how much you actually have to explore yourself versus I just want to get through this area type of thing.
All right.
Burkoff, you had like two more?
Last two. Chrono Break, which if you're a Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross fan,
A
you
Chrono
will,
Head?
yeah,
Not
crony.
yeah,
A
or a
crony,
Chrono
there
Head.
you go.
Yeah, Chrono Break was supposed to be the third entry in the series. I would love to see a third entry in the series. One of the things that I love about the differences between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross is how different those stories actually are and how they don't share any characters with each other.
But
Um,
also, but still connected.
in a roundabout way, yeah.
At the
So
at
I
the end of
would
the game, they're like, this is how they're connected, kind of thing. But
right. So I would love to see that with a third entry. Give me a whole new set of characters. Give me a whole new setting, new story, whatever. Let me get through that, and then show me how it's connected to the other three, or the other two. Um, would love to see that. Last one, Super Mario RPG, the 7 stars, right? The quest for the 7 stars. We need a proper fucking new Mario RPG game.
the quest for
Paper
the 8 stars. I'm just-
Paper Mario is not a substitute.
What
I
about
don't care.
not Paper Mario, but what about the what was the
Bowser-
one where
the
Bowser's
Mario and
Fury or
Luigi,
something
like,
like that? The one where you went
GBA.
inside Bowser's stomach.
Yeah, there was a
What was that
handful
one?
of games on the
DS.
GBA and the DS, the Mario and Luigi games, which were
Okay.
very, very similar.
All right, similar, but not. Not
They weren't-
quite-
Oh, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story.
Which was like the third one in that series
2009.
of games, I think.
So 10 years ago.
Yeah, still not the same.
Wait, Tom, how's a turn-based RPG?
Well, still not the same. The
Right
same
up your wheelhouse,
feel.
Burkoff. Turn-based. Turn-based. Did you hear me? I said turn-based.
I understand what he's saying though. Like
I know, I'm
it
just
would
messing with
because
him.
that game was so right. The game was so prolific back in the day. Like what? Like it wasn't. Well, I guess there was Mario's missing and all this Mario Paint and all this other side stuff, but there wasn't such a like. How could you make a Mario game in a JRPG? Like
Right.
that's the idea of that sounds insane, and they did it, and it was amazing, and like
And it
it's
was
just one of those games
Squaresoft.
that's infinitely loved. Yeah, SquareSoft. Yeah, not Square Enix.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see. And you know what? I do agree with you, Burkoff, that Paper Mario is not a substitute for.
Well, not the current one.
Super
Holy
Mario
cow,
RPG.
that is not an
It's-
RPG.
Yeah,
Well, they
it's
keep
not.
changing what they're trying to do with that game. It's just like the card system and the like,
And now the
Just find a
rotating,
lane.
the
Yeah,
rotating, spinning.
you're thinking
Platform.
way too hard about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate them trying new things. I just wish like okay, you've experimented. It's all kind of been middling. Just go back to the.
Well, it's
tried
pick,
and true
pick
stuff.
the pick the thing, master it, and then when it becomes redundant, then you change it up. Not let's
Right.
change it up every
Yeah,
single
I
game,
want-
and not necessarily. It's like being okay to good at something, but never great at something because you never give yourself the opportunity to expand and really maximize the effort to make something great.
Yeah, I want the RPG equivalent of Odyssey. Like Odyssey
That'd be
blew my
fun.
fucking mind. Like I played that game
Odyssey,
and I felt
yes indeed.
I felt like a little
Odyssey,
kid.
yes,
I felt like a little
indeed.
kid again. And it's been a while since I've
Amazing.
sat down and played a game and was like, holy shit, I'm a child, you know? And
Oh. Imagine if they
Um,
made like kept it kind of isometric, right? But just essentially like an Odyssey, but it was a JRPG. I would
Right.
Oh, here
jump
you
through
go.
this
You ready for this?
fucking window in
Odyssey,
excitement. Hopefully, I have a
JRPG,
Breath of the Wild parasol so I
Odyssey,
can.
JRPG,
live,
Odyssey, JRPG, Odyssey, JRPG.
All right, Mitch wrote the song, the opening song for it, the teaser song.
This is why they need me in the room. So
yeah,
studios, I'm up for hire. Hire me. You need me in the
This
room.
guy's got jingles for days.
I got jingles for days, bro. Days.
I
Evan,
have
what is yours?
I have one. I have one more.
I have one more as well, so I'll let you go first.
Okay, and this one's very quick. And so basically what we have been talking about is would you rather see a brand new game in a series or a remake of a previous game? And in this case, and this is kind of hopping off of what McWomble said last episode, where he had mentioned, or he had brought up, that Streets of Rage 4 has kind of
Yeah.
ruined brawlers for him because it's so damn good. So he's a huge brawler
Bless
fan,
you.
which I was actually really surprised to find out.
Bless
I mean,
you.
this is like maybe a bless you got that. She's not paying attention.
Oh, that's so rude.
Yeah, it's really rude. So rude. Look at her. Made me wake up at 8:40 and take out the garbage. You should think she is my wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's exactly who she thinks she is.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, she knows it. Hey, you that way.
No.
Absolutely not. That is not how this house is operated. So McWomble's a huge beat 'em up fan and has been for years and years and years. So he knows his stuff. He knows what he likes, like the classics, the nostalgia wrapped in, all that type of stuff. But he said just Streets of Rage 4 just tweaked that so well.
Yeah.
And he's talking about like the art style, the animations, the things you can do with lighting in these games that you just couldn't do, on these older systems, and just whatever, like interesting movesets and all these things that people have learned since Streets of Rage 2 came out, like the pinnacle of the series. You just look at all the things that people have done, you're like, that's good, that's good, that's good. That was kind of a mistake, and you just pick all the good stuff and just make a really, really great game. So in this case, I think when you talk about brand new game in the series or a remake, I think initially if someone said, let's bring back Streets of Rage and just do a remake of 2, you would have missed out on making a Streets of Rage 4. And that in this case, I think, because like if you start changing too much of a Streets of Rage 2 for how loved that game is, kind of a cult classic, I don't know how much it's sold.
Yeah.
You start hitting walls where you're not doing as much as you probably could be because you're worried about angering the fans that you're trying to sell the game to. Whereas with the Streets of Rage 4, because it's not necessarily a remake of an old game, it's not the same backgrounds, it's not the same boss. They can play around with that world a bit more. So in that case, it's nice that they made a Streets of Rage 4, and maybe McWomble would agree, instead of doing a remake where they're a bit more confined to keep fans happy about maybe like what they could include in that game.
See, the thing is, he says that now, but then he's going to realize when he plays the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Oh man,
Revenge or whatever it's called.
Shredder's Revenge.
I'm so excited for this shit.
He's gonna say,
my heart is like,
he's gonna say, man, Streets of Rage 4 looks like a pussy.
Only one.
Only one. I do have one to add to the list, which I actually have not played Streets of Rage 4, so I need to. I'm not much of a brawler guy. I tried to play.
People aren't.
I tried to play Burkoff's gone. He actually would appreciate this, so I'll wait till he comes back for this one. But I'll still say my game, and then we'll come back to it.
Right.
I'm only doing that because he played the specific game I'm thinking of with his wife, and so I know he would have some feelings about it.
Sure.
But the one I appreciate that I actually did a remake for, and this is a hot take, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
You land on the you're glad?
I'm glad they did a remake. Now I say that because what I think they did really well is, and I guess I kind of sound like a hypocrite now because I'm thinking about it for Resident Evil, and I'm like, oh, I don't want Resident Evil. Like, I wish they didn't do Resident Evil 2.
I mean, different genres of games, and when they came out, very different things, right? So I don't think you're being a hypocrite because they're not the same genre where like tank controls, set angles of camera and those types of things. I don't know if it's exactly the same thing as a JRPG.
I guess I don't
fixed camera angles.
I guess putting it in that perspective, I guess I'm not as much of a hypocrite because my criticism is not necessarily on the gameplay. It's more of a criticism on not having the two congruent stories that are the two crossover storylines that actually work, and you actually have potential of two different ways to play each character with two full different storylines combined.
There's some different stuff, yeah, and like,
which is unique in games. You don't run into that kind of stuff,
right? And then the quality of life things that they could change in a survival horror game are very different from the quality of life changes that
Yeah.
would be in a JRPG. So
So
I don't think you're being a hypocrite.
Yeah, and I think I the reason why I really like it is because Burkoff just came back for all our audio listeners, and for the record, Burkoff, I just said that I enjoyed that they did Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know you have feelings about that. I'm happy they did Final Fantasy VII Remake because I think one, they're actually taking the time to really expand it. Now I know they're doing something different. If you haven't played it, they are making some changes to the overarching story in regards to like there's these creatures of fate that are trying to make them stay in the current storyline.
It's a new universe.
Yeah, it's a new universe, and they're trying to make them stay
different dimension.
Yeah, now it's into like a whole different dimension because of the way that the first game ends. But what I do love about it is because I think they offer a really interesting take on gameplay for Final Fantasy that I absolutely love, which is a mixture between full action and turn-based strategy, which is, and Burkoff can't say this because he still hasn't played the game because he refuses to play the game. Did I just mention that he doesn't
you're
want to
talking-
play
you're-
the game?
You're talking to a brick wall. This guy
know.
is turn-based or bust.
Well,
I don't want-
what's
I
that
don't wanna
Berlin
play-
Wall? I'm gonna break down the Berlin Wall eventually. I'm just gonna hammer
I don't want
at
to.
it.
I don't.
slowly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to play Kingdom Hearts 5.
Oh, fuck.
That's
I was gonna say.
so I'm not
I'm not
interested.
Gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
This guy's doing some Square Enix burns.
I almost let off the F bomb because I was just, ooh, you can't compare that. And I love Kingdom Hearts. Don't do that to me, bro. Don't do that to me. But
I have to go to the bathroom, but I do, Mitch. I do enjoy the combat and how they were able to try to keep
Marriage
new
the
players
two.
that don't have new players that don't have any experience with turn-based with players that would want to hold on to it. I think they did a decent balance with
Yeah.
it.
Go,
And-
go
and
ahead
I
and
think-
go ahead and yeah. So
I love
I
that he's
was-
gonna have his headphones in so he knows exactly what we're talking
Yeah,
about
he's-
while
he's
he's
gonna-
in the
he's gonna hear
bathroom.
us.
That's
I
commitment on
was-
this show. That's commitment.
I was really intrigued originally with how they were going to sort of meld this action and turn-based or strategy style. But as I ruminated over the demo, I just realized that it wasn't for me. It's not for me.
It is for
I'm-
you. You just don't know it, and that's okay, Burkoff. That's okay. Anyway,
say that.
I think it's a great marriage because you can.
I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's just it's not my style. That's all.
Whatever. It's a good marriage because it does offer the two options. And I think you can go full action if you want to by creating shortcuts for the player. I think the main reason I really appreciate that they're doing that, one, they expand the storyline in regards to like really expanding characters. Like I never thought I would really care about specific characters that I didn't really care about in the first time around playing it with the original.
Like Jesse.
Jesse,
or
holy cow, Jesse has like an actual plot.
story arc. Yeah.
And when things happen, like you feel it, you really feel it. And I never did that. I never felt that in the first time when I played the original.
No, because she was a minor character. She
Right.
wasn't-
But even the minor
yeah.
characters have spotlights. Even if it's one mission, she still has a spotlight, which really does a lot of good. So I think it's that, but I think it's like it offers the player so much choice, and that's what I appreciate. In the end, like it offers player choice, and you can make it a lot more strategy because you can pause time to be able to go through your menu screens to be able to choose what kind of special attacks you're going to use, what kind of magic you're going to use, what kind of items you're going to use. Or you can just set them up to hotkeys and make it full action, which is awesome too. So it's and you can still use the pause in time even when you have hotkeys. And I think that's awesome. I think the accessibility makes the game so much better in that way. But then I love how they expand the plot, even though it is going to be a different plot in the end. But they still expand the characters and all that kind of stuff, which I really, really appreciate. So in that way, whereas like Resident Evil didn't expand the characters like the original did because they limited the story plot and things like that, this is where Final Fantasy for me earns so much credit, and I'm so happy they did a remake, and I'm so excited to play part 2.
I'll tell you what. I have no interest in giving Square any more of my money because I've already purchased 7 at least 6 times. So
I've purchased 7 at least 6 times. Imagine walking
Burkoff-
by someone on the street and they heard you, they're like, what the fuck did that guy just say? I purchased 7 6 times.
Burkoff, what I'm gonna do, because you bought me Alpha Protocol, I will buy you Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we will stream it together.
You won't have to. It'll probably be on Game Pass.
No, it will not be on Game Pass because the game is still on exclusivity for PlayStation.
It's coming. It's coming to
it still?
Xbox.
But
It's gonna come out to.
But they're
Windows
not going to go
PC.
on Game Pass. No
inevitable.
way Square Enix is going to give up that money unless Xbox gives them a nice hefty check, and I don't think Xbox
I think
is willing to do
I think
so.
they will.
because
I think they will after
I
a
don't-
while. Yeah.
I don't think they will because it's far too late. Like, people have already played it that want to play it, and they're going to be like, it doesn't matter. We're not going to pop you up the hop.
I mean, by the same token though, like there's no reason for 10 to HD, 12, 8, 7, 9.
those are old games, though.
Right. There's no reason for them to be on Game Pass, but they are.
They are.
And they've all been remastered.
Well, not
at least for the
but
time
a
being.
bunch of them been booted off though. Like, they haven't been on there for the full. They were on there for only like 6 months, and then a bunch of them got booted.
Right. So I think that Microsoft will probably pony up the money
No, they
to.
won't. Because I think Square
Okay.
Enix. The only reason why I disagree with you is I think Square Enix will ask for a lot more money than for something like 10-2 or 10 and 10-2 remaster, because they're like, look at this game. This is beloved. Like, this is a game that's reviewed high. It was on the Game of the Year nomination. Like, they're gonna say that you need to heft up a lot of money, especially because it's coming to your console for the first time. And Microsoft is going to be like, oh, hell no. We got so many studios we're already eating the cost for Game Pass for that we need those games to shine. So, especially for a game that's 3 years old by the time it'll probably come to it's already been a year and a half. It's almost 2 full years.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, critically acclaimed and everything, but I will say, if there's any game that is similar to Zelda in terms of a bump and being maybe overrated in some people's eyes, it is totally
Yep.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
7, yeah.
Because
Did you mean not Zelda? You
some
just
of the
mean the
praise this
Nintendo
game
bump.
has, yeah. Sure, yeah. I mean, you could go that wide with it, but I think you can actually bring it just to Zelda. But yeah, like some of the things people have been saying, like, look, I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I liked it, but some of the things people have been saying about it, like, man, you are so far in this Final Fantasy VII, like, I was gonna say love hole. I don't
Yeah,
even
to
know
me
what
it's
that
a
is.
solid to me it's like a
Love hole.
really
But, like,
solid
you just can't
it's a
see it.
really, really solid 8.5.
Yeah, it's great. And
It's
then
like
you go to
high
chapter
eight, low
15 and like there's like a 360 by 60 pixel fucking skybox. Like no one talks about is the worst skybox I've seen in a game in at least a decade, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about final thing I'll propose. I don't know how far we're going to stretch this, but you have games that have just remade the game, like Shadow of the Colossus, start to finish, right? They're just remaking the game, a bit archaic, update the graphics, bring a new audience in. All these people that are totally like head over heels nostalgic for it are going to play it and absolutely love that you have added physics and animations and all these types of things. Or for a remake, do you go we've already done it that way one time, if we're going to remake it, let's do something new, let's change it like they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where they're opening the door for different possibilities. Do you guys prefer either way, or would you rather just have a game be remade exactly how it is, or do you like the idea of the remake maybe rewriting stuff or changing things in a way that makes it feel new and not necessarily just a prettier game than 10 years ago?
Fucking hate it. I just don't mess with it. Just
Sure.
either make a new thing
I get it,
or
I get it.
don't. Yeah.
I think it depends on the franchise.
Yeah.
Like, to be
yeah.
honest, Shadow of the Colossus didn't need to be like remade in the context of like changing things.
Well, the story is so like vague and open ended. Like,
Yeah, and the
what could
gameplay
you
is already really
change
tight.
about it?
It's really good. It's still like it still holds up. It just really needed just quality of life in regards to visual. And like, to be
Right,
honest,
more quality
they've
of life.
remastered it so many times to like just remake it from the ground up and still have it like be the way it was, that's one that doesn't need to be touched. But if you're like looking at a game that's like you know, like that they did for Resident Evil 2 remake, like you have to do it. There's just no other choice. Like, because the game is so old, you can't just one for one it. It's just not possible.
I mean, they did it with Resident Evil 1 remake for the GameCube to an extent, but I can see, like,
But that wasn't even.
we're talking 2019 or whenever that game came out.
Yeah, I mean that game was
That wasn't even
less
that.
than
Well,
10 years.
when Resident
I
Evil
think,
1 remake came out,
I think it was like
how many years had passed since the original? Not a lot.
7.
Yeah.
7 years.
So, yeah, we're not talking decades later.
No,
right?
God no. Yeah.
There you go. Remake. So you go
Which, to
RE2,
be honest, I really
RE3,
prefer.
RE4,
Well,
RE1.
Though to be
back.
well, they're missing Code Veronica, which is a huge element in the Resident Evil saga that they did not remake. Well, technically, Code Veronica comes after 3, but that's a huge story for Chris, Claire, and Wesker. Like
Right.
that creates a lot of the tension that happens in 5 between Wesker and Chris.
I'd play that game.
So.
I got back into the series because of all these remakes in 7 and 8. So
Yeah, I helped. Actually, one of my clients was playing Code Veronica, and I helped him through a stage in Code Veronica. I was like, I still got it. I still got the tank controls.
these 23-year-old bones still have it. I don't know how old.
I'm not that
How old are
young.
you? Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not that young. Holy cow! I wish I was 23. I'm 28. I wish I was 23. Whew. Oh, I appreciate you thinking I'm 23 though, because it means I got a sexy 23 face going.
Yeah.
So
Same
for all
age
you
as me,
audio
bud.
listeners, just look at this I got a great jawline going here, and I don't know if I'm saying that because I have too many beers in me or I'm just doing it because I'm fly. I'm not sure. It's one of the two.
Oh,
Drink responsibly.
whether or
some-
not
I
you're
have some-
drinking.
I have
You have
some
a great
horrible.
job,
I have some
so-
horrible news. Steam says on the Alpha Protocol page, at the request of the publisher, Alpha Protocol is no longer available for sale on Steam.
The mother beep.
Yeah. I do. I
Sounds
do.
like a job for Tom Cruise.
I do. I do still have a way to
Steal the
get you the
documents.
game.
I
on
wonder if
Steam.
it's. I wonder if it's on Epic Game Store.
I don't think it's on Epic, but I can still get you the game on Steam. It'll just take me a minute. I gotta.
Wait, how does this happen?
Sega apparently has decided they don't want to allow it for sale. I don't know. I think it probably
Sega.
has to.
That makes sense.
Well, so it probably has to do with the fact that Obsidian got purchased by Microsoft, and the game was originally published through Sega. So I'm sure that it's a conflict.
I'm
of,
shocked you can't buy it on I'm shocked you can't buy it on or it's not even on Game Pass. I wish it was on Game Pass.
Should we end the show instead of?
Yeah, well,
talking
that's
about
that's
this?
kind of what I was getting at. I was like, yeah,
Okay.
let's end the show right here.
Well,
And on that
Talk
bombshell,
shop later. Yeah.
not COVID, promise. It's just really dusty in my apartment. And
see.
well,
Interesting.
well, before we go, we are Pixel Pints. Thank you for joining us. We're so happy to have you. McWomble always forgets this outro stuff, so I'm going to be the great host that I am, and he's going to hate me for saying that, and going to
Jesus,
actually let you
putting
know
your
where to
felt
find us.
band down?
So if you listened through this entire podcast, first, thank you. You are amazing. You are a great human being, and you should follow us at Pixel_Pints on Twitter or Pixel Pints Pod on
Pixel Pints
Instagram.
Pod.
And then you can follow us on. We stream this on Twitch. I didn't even catch that in the beginning. We stream this on Twitch every weekend at twitch.tv/pixelpints. But then we archive it not only on Twitch, we also archive it on YouTube, where you can find us at Pixel Pints. Or if you just go to Pixel Pints on any of your podcasting services around the globe, like we are, you can find us there and you can listen to us. Like I said, we have a month's worth of content on there to listen to us. Like and if you want to really go back in the day, you know, like old school stuff, like what was it called, the Beerumvirant.
you're over it.
And if you want to even go further than back than that and listen to Podcast Reload, like where some of us were guest stars on, you got years worth of content, guaranteed, hands down. So check us out there.
Actually, the Vin and my reaction video to the RE7 reveal has like 12K of viewers because
Get the fuck
only
outta here.
because yeah, I mean it's people like watching reaction videos,
Oh yeah, I love
including
watching
myself.
reaction videos. They're fun.
I'm so embarrassed to say this, but I will sit there and watch these reaction videos that have like hundreds of thousands of views, and all they do is watch other people's shit. I add to their numbers.
Well,
By the way,
fun.
this is a
It's
really
fun.
big peach.
Oh,
Look at that. Look how big that peach is.
Yeah.
Come on, now.
It's fun to watch something that you also were shocked by to see how other people were shocked by it. Oh, that peach has
It
a
is-
nice
it is a
little
thing.
like little pouch for it. That's adorable.
Yeah, they're like that's why
See,
they cost
this-
so fucking much in Japan. It's like I don't need a little cradle, a little
It's a-
blanket for my
it's a
peach.
You don't need a
dessert.
peach
I need a
holder.
peach.
It's a fucking dessert.
Yeah.
This is why you
wanna
need
eat-
to
hey,
be
you
watching
wanna
us
eat my
on
peach?
youtube.com/pixelpints.
I don't want to eat your peach, but
No,
I think
I'm
somebody
good.
might want
Yeah,
to.
yeah. There, I bet I can tell you a great app where someone could enjoy your peach. Telling you that right now. I will.
Wow.
I will. So if Jesus Christ, you should be going to YouTube and watching this right now because this is all the fun happens where you get to actually see it visually instead of listening to auditory. Anyways,
It's
I
called
need to
Off
stop
the
talking.
Rails.
I need to stop talking and just say, on that note, because that's what Berghoff says, and I decided to not give him the opportunity to say it. See you guys. Have fun. Have a good weekend.
It's a good way to end the podcast. If you start showing peaches on a podcast, it's time to just pull the plug.
The next
well-
question is what's the next fruit Evan is going to show on the show?
It's gotta be a giant strawberry.